This woman made a chilling discovery. Her handsome, wealthy, and beloved husband is actually a monster. The secret attic of their luxury mansion is his personal torture chamber. To save herself, she decides to hire a young, beautiful maid to take her place and endure his cruelty. Little did she know, the new hire has secrets of her own. 3 people, 3 agendas. A game of predator and prey begins. Who will get the last laugh? Today, I bring you this psychological thriller full of twists and turns. Millie, penniless and desperate, rings the doorbell of the mansion. The moment the gates open, a surge of anxiety hits her. She quickly puts on glasses, hoping to look like a cultured intellectual. She's here for a job interview. If she succeeds, her life will finally have some stability. The lady of the house, Nina Winchester, opens the door with a warm, gentle smile that puts Millie at ease, completely unaware that she has just stepped into a meticulously laid trap. Though Millie looks a bit plain, Nina knows that this young, blonde, blue-eyed girl is exactly her husband's type. Nina enthusiastically shows her around: the pristine living room, the husband's media room, which she's welcome to use, and the cozy attic that will be her bedroom. "It's perfect," Millie says. Nina smiles, explaining it's just the 3 of them: herself, her husband, and their daughter. To Millie, it feels too good to be true. As she leaves, Nina kindly gives her some cash for travel and sees her to the door. Despite Nina's promise to consider her, Millie suspects it was just polite small talk. With nowhere to go, she washes up in public restrooms, eats fast food with the money Nina gave her, and sleeps in her car. The next morning, a policeman wakes her by knocking on the window. Overnight parking isn't allowed. Just as despair sets in, her phone rings. It's Nina. She wants Millie to start immediately. Unable to believe her luck, Millie rushes back, but this time, Nina isn't there to greet her. Upon entering, Millie is stunned. The house, once spotless, is a disaster zone, littered with food scraps. Nina appears with a smile, hugs Millie, and helps her with her bags. Millie gets to work without a word. After all, this is her job. Soon, the place is sparkling again. By evening, the husband, Andrew, arrives with their daughter, Cece. Nina introduces Millie, mentioning she'll be living in the attic. Andrew looks at Nina silently and says nothing. In her room, Millie notices something odd. The doorknob is old and damaged, and the door can only be locked from the outside. The triangular window lets in good light, but is sealed shut. Nina brings her dinner, saying Andrew insisted on it. Starving, Millie digs in. Nina also hands her a new phone, linked to the family account for daily expenses, and, before leaving, gives Millie a long hug, whispered, "I'm so glad you're here." The next day, Millie oversleeps. She rushes to the door, only to find it locked. Panic sets in. She rattles the handle desperately until it finally clicks open. Downstairs, she finds Nina in the middle of a breakdown, throwing things and screaming about her missing graduation speech, blaming Millie for losing it. Andrew steps in, holding Nina tenderly to calm her down. After Nina leaves, Andrew apologizes to Millie, claiming she's just exhausted. His kindness comforts her, but she has no idea Nina's outburst was a calculated performance. From that point on, Millie's view of her employer shifts. One day, while cleaning the bathroom, Millie finds a yellow pill in the toilet. As she examines it, Nina suddenly appears in the mirror behind her, startling her, and tells her to get dinner ready. That night, Andrew invites Millie to join them for dinner. She declines, but can't help stealing a grateful glance at him. Back in her room, she finds herself scrolling through his social media, captivated by his smile. Andrew appears with a slice of cake. The air between them is thick with an intimate tension. Then Millie wakes up. It was only a dream. On Saturday, Millie's supposed day off, Nina insists she tag along on an errand. They argue until Andrew intervenes, letting Millie go. She heads to the Human Services building to check in with her parole officer. The officer is blunt: keep the job or go back to serve the remaining 5 years of her 15-year sentence. We learn that back in high school, Millie accidentally killed a wealthy classmate who was bullying her roommate. The roommate, intimidated, never spoke up for her. 10 years later, Millie still can't stand seeing men mistreat women. As she leaves, Nina calls frantically, demanding she pick up Cece from ballet, but fails to give the address. Millie eventually finds the school, only to learn Cece had already arranged a sleepover at a friend's house. Frustrated by the wild goose chase, Millie returns to the mansion to find Andrew's mother, who criticizes her for dressing too provocatively. The mother-in-law hands Andrew a family heirloom, warning him to keep it safe from Nina, who loves to break things. The next day, during tea with Nina's friends, Millie overhears them calling Andrew the perfect man, while painting Nina as unstable. Nina signed a prenup that leaves her with nothing if they divorce, and had previously spent 9 months in a psychiatric ward. When Nina enters the room, the friends instantly switch to fake, pleasant smiles. That night, Millie writes in her journal, confused by Nina's lies. Nina had told her she was pregnant, but told her friends she wasn't. Nina enters and tells Millie that she and Andrew are going away for the weekend, leaving Millie to watch Cece. Once they leave, Millie searches the bathroom and finds a stash of medications for severe mental disorders, including schizophrenia. Terrified, she calls an agency to find a new job, but Cece suddenly appears behind her.
You're leaving?
What? No.
Millie plays it off and spends time with the girl. Later, the couple returns. Andrew tells Millie that Nina can't get pregnant and that he always wanted a biological child, though he loves Cece as his own. His vulnerability moves Millie. That night, Millie hears Nina scream. She runs to their room to find Nina with a cold stare and a sharp object in her hand.
Andrew, are you okay?
What, you overheard those PTA cunts saying that I'm crazy? That I don't deserve my husband? That I belong in a nut house?
Andrew?
She confronts Millie about what the women at tea said. Andrew calmly takes the object from Nina's hand and closes the door. Clearly, this isn't the first time. The next day, Nina is sweet again, apologizing for the pregnancy lie and giving Millie new clothes. She asks Millie to book concert tickets and a hotel as a surprise for Andrew on Saturday, saying Millie can have the day off. At ballet, Millie hears from another parent that years ago, Nina tried to drown Cece in a bathtub. Millie is horrified. Returning home, she runs into the gardener, Enzo, in the yard. Whenever this man sees her, he looks as if he's on the verge of speaking, but stops himself. Millie was just about to ask him something when Nina suddenly bursts out of the house. Holding an envelope, Nina demands, "Who told you to book this ticket and the hotel?" Millie explains she booked it herself. Nina sneers, "I'm taking Cece to an arts camp in Washington this Saturday. Why would I let you book the tickets?" Millie tries to explain, but Nina refuses to listen, snapping, "The ticket is non-refundable. It's coming out of your wages." Millie points out that even all her savings wouldn't be enough. The tension only breaks when Andrew appears. After hearing Nina out, Andrew turns to Millie and says apologetically, "Don't worry, I won't make you pay for this. I'll handle it." On Saturday, Andrew sees Nina and Cece off. With Nina gone, Millie feels a huge weight lifted. She enjoys a long hot bath, but as she steps out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, she runs right into Andrew on the stairs. Flustered, Andrew quickly looks away and apologizes, insisting he didn't mean to see her. In the living room, Andrew mentions that the tickets and hotel were indeed non-refundable. After thinking it over, he suggests they go together. The performance is bound to be great, and they'd be back that same night. Millie thinks for a moment and agrees. Millie puts on the beautiful dress Nina gave her, and, after getting all dolled up, embarks on her first date with Andrew. After the show, they share a pleasant dinner and conversation. As soft music plays in the restaurant, Andrew invites Millie to dance. As they sway gently, Millie finds herself completely falling for his tenderness. Because of the rain, they don't head back but check into 2 separate hotel rooms. Since her phone is dead, Millie borrows a charger from the front desk. At her door, Andrew stops, looks at her, and says,
"I'll see you in the morning."
They each enter their rooms, but Millie lingers at the door, looking back longingly. Inside, her heart racing, she plugs in her phone. As soon as the screen lights up, she is flooded with messages from Nina telling her she is fired. Millie takes her phone to Andrew's room to show him. He tells her not to worry and gently holds her hands. That night, the two of them grow very close. They wake up late the next morning. Nothing is said, but everything has changed. Upon returning home, they act like a couple in love. Soon, Nina returns home, seemingly in a good mood. Millie and Andrew act as they usually do. Nina apologizes for her mood the previous night, but during dinner, she suddenly reveals that Millie had spent 10 years in prison before coming to work for them. Millie is caught off guard and looks at Andrew, who appears shocked. Nina then hands the keys to her luxury car to Millie, telling her to drive it to the supermarket to buy groceries, saying it looks more prestigious. At the supermarket, Millie's mind is racing. While checking her shopping list, a neighbor spots her and comments on her nice phone. Millie quickly says Nina gave it to her, but the neighbor remarks that these phones are usually GPS tracked. Millie suddenly feels something is wrong. Just as she exits the store, she is surrounded by police. Someone reported the luxury car stolen. Andrew rushes over to clear things up. On the way home, Millie tries to explain the prison situation, but Andrew says the past doesn't matter. Millie sighs. Nina must know about us. Andrew replies, "I know." Back at the house, Nina comes downstairs and confronts them about their secret date. Andrew asks if she's having hallucinations again. Nina retorts, "What would your parole officer say if they knew you stole thousands of dollars worth of clothes from your employer and got fired?" Andrew is furious. "Are you crazy? I won't let you ruin a young person's life. Leave my house right now."
This is our house.
My house.
You can't do that.
No!
Nina glares at Millie with pure hatred. Millie asks if she needs help packing. Nina snaps, slaps Millie hard, and storms out. In the car, Nina screams in anguish. Although her plan to escape this cage worked, Andrew's look of rage and the way he protected Millie made her realize he never loved her. She was just a toy to him. Inside, Andrew comforts Millie. "It wasn't your fault. I'll have the lawyer handle the divorce immediately. It's been a long time since I've felt the urge to protect someone. I want to protect you forever." Millie smiles. They start living together openly, watching movies, eating popcorn, and sleeping in. One morning, Millie is preparing breakfast, using a family heirloom given to her by a friend. As she turns around, she drops the tray in shock. Enzo is standing outside the door, staring at her. Andrew hears the noise and runs down. He looks at the shards and then at Enzo. He tells Enzo coldly, "Pack your things, you're fired." He tells Millie it's okay and not to worry. Millie sighs in relief and sweeps up the shards into a plastic bag. Looking around the mansion, she smiles, amazed she finally has such a beautiful life. That evening, Andrew returns and sees the bag of broken plates. He examines it for a moment, then smiles and carries Millie up to the attic. They drink champagne and fall asleep. When Millie wakes up, she's stunned. The room is empty. No furniture, no decor, just bare walls. She rushes to the door and finds it locked. She pounds on the door, calling Andrew's name. Andrew stands outside and says calmly, "I'll open it, but not yet." Millie asks, "Is this a game?" Andrew replies, "I wish it were." The scene shifts to Nina. In a hotel, she drinks champagne and curses the devil Andrew. She burns a photo of him and starts writing a letter to her daughter, Cece. She remembers how she met him. She was a divorced mother working hard to support her child. During a meeting, she had an embarrassing accident in front of the bosses. Andrew, the rich heir, found her afterward, said he hated those people's attitudes, and invited her to dinner. Soon, a romantic proposal followed. She thought she'd found the one, but it was the start of a nightmare. One day, Andrew told her hair looked bad and she should take better care of it. Nina was too busy and forgot. As a surprise, Andrew took her to the attic guest room. Once inside, he locked the door. "You should take care of your hair. It's for our own good. Now you need to know the consequences of forgetting." He slid an envelope under the door. "Pull out 100 hairs, roots intact, and put them in the envelope. Then you can come out." Nina thought he was joking until his footsteps faded. With no food and only water, and desperate to see her daughter, she endured the pain and pulled the hair. But Andrew sent another note. Some hairs had no roots. She had to do 100 more. Nina begged, but it was no use. She had to keep pulling. Finally, Andrew opened the door and handed a bottle of water to Nina, who was collapsed on the floor. Nina took a sip and immediately rushed out of the guest room toward her daughter's room. The moment she saw Cece, all her pain vanished. But as she approached her daughter, Nina felt her body grow heavier and heavier, eventually fainting. When she woke up, it was already night. Nina searched frantically for her daughter, and, hearing the sound of water from the bathroom, rushed inside. At that moment, the police arrived and witnessed the scene. From then on, everyone believed that Nina, under the influence of drugs, had attempted to drown her own child. As Cece was taken away by the ambulance, Andrew appeared. Seeing Nina's terrified expression, he let out a subtle smile. Nina tried to tell the truth, but no one believed her. How could a man as handsome and with a smile as radiant as Andrew's be a monster? After undergoing psychiatric treatment, Andrew brought Nina back home. Nina's only comfort was her daughter, but she soon realized that Cece now seemed to love Andrew more. From then on, for any trivial reason, Andrew would lock Nina in the attic. At a dinner with neighbors, while everyone laughed and showed blind admiration for Andrew, only Nina knew he was a demon. To avoid having children with him, she secretly underwent a tubal ligation. The only outsider Nina could trust was the gardener, Enzo. He tried to help her escape with a fake passport, but Andrew found out. Nina was sent back to the psychiatric hospital. All assets were in Andrew's name. Nina had no money, no credit, and no family or friends. In the eyes of others, she was just an ordinary mental patient. She could not escape his clutches. Unwilling to accept this fate, Nina began to observe and finally discovered Andrew's weakness. He loved being idolized. She devised a plan and told Enzo not to interfere. Enzo agreed to help because his own sister had been killed by a similar tycoon. Nina hired Millie, a smart, beautiful blonde woman, to be the new maid. The crucial detail: Millie had served 10 years in prison for murder. Nina believed Millie would know how to handle Andrew. The plan succeeded. Nina picked up Cece from school, and Millie took the place of the person locked in the attic. The scene shifts back to the attic. Andrew walks upstairs and speaks coldly through the door.
I will let you out, but first you need to atone. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this piece right here in my hand and you're gonna carve 21 lines into your stomach, one for every piece that you fucking broke.
Millie picked up the shard, incredulous. Andrew insisted, "I'll be watching. The cuts must be deep and long to count." Millie realized she was under surveillance. After hearing Andrew's footsteps recede, she pounded on the door, begging to be let out, but to no avail. With no food and only a few bottles of water, Millie eventually found a kitchen knife Nina had left for her. Using the porcelain shard, she steeled herself and made the 21 cuts. She shouted, "Andrew, I'm done! Let me out!" Receiving no answer, she threw the shard through the gap in the door and went to sleep. The next day, Andrew entered, sat on the bed, bed and checked the wounds. Satisfied, he said tenderly, "From now on, you can live a happy, carefree life with me." Millie weakly replied,
Just not with you, asshole.
She struck him, grabbed his phone, and tried to flee. Andrew, though injured, tried to hold her, but Millie managed to kick him, exit the room, and lock him in from the outside. Through the phone, she watched Andrew screaming via the security cameras. Starving, she ran to the kitchen and ate. The phone rang with a message from Andrew's mother. "Have you served the divorce papers yet, my beautiful boy?" Seeing the word beautiful, Millie had an idea. She took the expensive china set, a pair of pliers, and went upstairs. Andrew began to beg, claiming it was a moment of madness and that he needed help. Millie agreed to help, but said it wasn't time yet. She dropped the pliers through the gap and ordered him to pull out his own front teeth. She knew it was that smile that charmed everyone and was his mother's pride. If he was to be destroyed, it would start with his face. Andrew was horrified and began to curse her. Millie, unafraid, began breaking his precious china one by one. Andrew tried to bribe her with money and then threatened to kill her. Millie laughed. "I'll kill you first. Didn't Nina tell you? I went to prison for murder." She poured gasoline at the door and struck a match. Terrified, Andrew gave in. He took the pliers and, after hesitating, pulled out his teeth, screaming in pain. Millie watched everything on the phone. When he begged to be let out, she said she would return in the morning and left. That night, Millie relaxed on the sofa drinking champagne, while Nina and Cece had a quiet dinner. Cece asked about Millie, and Nina, despite trusting her, decided to go back to the mansion. Seeing the attic light on, Nina entered cautiously to save Millie. However, Millie woke up on the sofa, saw Andrew was no longer on the monitor, and panicked. Nina was already in the attic calling for Millie when a bloody, toothless Andrew appeared and pushed her down the stairs.
Nina, what the fuck are you doing?
I miss you so much.
He chased Millie and tried to strangle her, but she bit him and escaped into the garden. Andrew couldn't find her and went back inside. Hearing a noise upstairs, he went up and found Nina standing in the hallway. He tried to manipulate her. "I know I was wrong. We can start over and pretend nothing happened." Nina laughed. "You're a total clown. I'd rather die than spend another day with you." Andrew moved to push her, but Millie emerged from the shadows and tackled him. Andrew fell from the third floor straight to the first. The two women looked at each other. Nina grabbed a light bulb, threw it next to the body, and said they would say he fell while trying to change it. Millie thought no one would believe it, but Nina assured her they would. Millie placed the pulled tooth next to Andrew and left. Nina called the police and, crying, told them about the accident. The detective believed her because her late sister was Andrew's ex-wife, and she knew his true nature. The case was closed as a domestic accident. At the funeral, the priest praised Andrew as a kind man. While neighbors cried, some could barely hide their laughter. Andrew's mother, showing no sadness, commented on the lost tooth, saying that beautiful teeth are gifts from God, and if he didn't protect them, he didn't deserve them. Nina smiled, realizing her mother-in-law was sniping at her for failing to protect her perfect son. Millie briefly met Nina at the cemetery to say goodbye, and Nina handed her a check for $100,000. Shortly after, Millie appears at an interview for a new maid position. The new employer, Lisa, mentions she was recommended by Nina. During the conversation, Lisa inadvertently reveals bruises on her arm, showing she is being abused by her husband.
When would you like me to start?